I've been doing graffiti. I actually started doing that before I was DJing. I started that, I don't know, 5th, 6th grade, whenever that was, in the mid '80s at some point, and and that was one of my first hip hop passions was doing graffiti. And I was always doing that in the background as while I got my turntables and was practicing, and that's actually where the JS-1 comes from. It's a graffiti name. I wrote JERMS, JERMS, and when I would actually go out and bomb on highways and stuff like that, I just shortened it to JS, and the 1 just means, I was the first one to write JERMS. So that's where the JS-1 comes from, and my whole life, graffiti's always been a passion. And something that I've done. I never really tried to do it to make money. So when I was touring and doing a lot of the DJing stuff, that had to come first because that's where I was getting my money from. But in the background, there was always this graffiti writer in me, and I would always do it. And it wasn't something I always promoted just because, first of all, it was illegal. And it was something, there was problems with different crews and different neighborhoods and stuff. And I never wanted my DJing stuff to really be associated with that. And recently I decided to take a little break from touring because it was just too much for me, and I just went full force now that I've been back in New York for a while with my graffiti again. So over the past few years I've been doing just hundreds of pieces everywhere, and from the Hall of Fame up here in Harlem to different track spots that aren't necessarily legal, but that's what we do. and it's just something that I always loved, and now it's also taking on a new battle for me. There's this new term, street art, and everybody's talking about street art. You see it on Instagram and all these street art projects, and I love art. I love all kinds of art, but street art kind of has a connotation to it that it's like something from the street. And we always felt that graph writers, we were doing street art. And the stuff that these people are doing, it's a lot of, stenciling images. And that's kind of more like art in the street. And we kind of do street art. And what happens now is that these people they're taking images from the computer and stenciling it on walls. And graffiti writer in traditional New York graph, it's about lettering styles and letters. And they kind of shun the lettering. A lot of these places, they want the person to come and stencil Marilyn Monroe or a pretty owl, and it's cool, it looks nice, I'm not against it, but at the same time, it's a problem when they don't allow the traditional New York street artists to come and showcase the lettering styles. I don't know why, if they think it's gang related or they can't read it or they don't understand it, but that's an important thing, and we can't let that die out. The same way as we were talking about hip-hop DJs, and there's not as many DJs that are willing to scratch, and it's more about what the newer kids are doing. We don't want the newer kids to see that and only do that, and the letter styles to die out, because that's what it was all about. From the 70s on, it was, you're a graffiti writer, you wrote your name, and these people are just taking someone else's images and stenciling it. And it's not what it's about. A lot of these people moved to New York from outside of New York because it's the cool place to be. And what made it so cool was some of the graph that we were doing for years. That's part of the cool vibe of New York. And now they're trying to do away with it. So it kind of hurts. So we're trying to fight that battle. So I've been promoting myself and my artwork now, my graph more. I'm more open to this is me, this is what I do. And we just constantly keep doing it. And on the cover this time, I wanted to explain to people, I've been doing this for a while, and not to sound corny, I'm the hip hop guy, but it's listen, I've tried to master two of these elements and really go far with it. And the graffiti writer was always in the background, and that's a picture of me actually doing something illegal, but that's the essence of a graffiti writer. And I'm also I'm also doing a piece on that too. I'm not just doing a throw up or a tag. I'm actually in an illegal spot, but doing it something nice, and that's important to me. And then in the forefront is the DJ, how everybody knows me, and that's always. And if you can see, even the tracks are coming from my head, it's always on my mind. The tracks, whether it's music tracks or train tracks. It's always flowing through me, and I just thought that was a perfect way to really sum up who I am. I mean, that's really who I am, and I just finally wanted everybody to see that. It's funny, a lot of these hip-hop artists that I work with, they never even knew. And now when I, show them all this stuff, they're like, that was you, that's you, like, you do this, like, it's really cool. And it's just great to be able to showcase that. And I love artwork, and now we're also getting paid for it. We've been doing a lot of commissioned work, which is great. We were just recently on Profit on CNBC, and they showcased our graffiti on there. And I've been doing painting stuff in gyms and auto body places and this. And the sad part about it is they actually pay me 10 times more to do that than to DJ in New York City. Outside of New York City, the money's okay DJing, but in actual New York City, they pay me probably more than 10 times what I would get to DJ here to paint the wall. Yeah, well, I don't DJ in strip clubs, and that's where a lot of these guys are DJing. And otherwise it's like lounges, and it's cool because my friends get to come and they hear good music, but they're trying to pay me like 3% of the bar tab. And my friends, they smoke weed, they don't drink, so the bar tab's not going to be so great. It is what it isn't.